Welcome, beautiful souls. I hope everyone is doing wonderful today. Welcome to video 24 of What Star Are We From? This series can be found on my playlist. Under my playlist tab, it is identified as Star Lineage. If you'd like to catch up on them, if you're new here, welcome. And to my subscribers, thank you. Okay. Today, we have two new messages coming through the cards out of the 8. So I'm going to read the narrative so we can get started. And thank you for being here. And if you're new, this is Galactic Heritage Cards. That is what we're using here. And thank you for being here. Okay. Galactic Heritage Cards are used to help us tap into our star lineage and karmic patterns, and also reveal lessons brought to Earth from the stars and how these lessons can be used in our life on Earth now. A star lineage spread more accurately reflects what stellar influences are working with you. If you do readings often, the cards may change, but over time you will notice a pattern that keeps emerging in the cards. This is a fluid system without fixed positional meanings because it represents the multidimensional and holographic nature of consciousness. Each card has a number, a civilization, a theme, and text that goes with it. The numbering order is based on the journey from unity to polarity through integration and back to unity. We have 21 different species and 108 cards in this deck. 4 timeline suits, past, present, future, and parallel. The cards are numbered based on the journey from unity to polarity and back to unity, reflecting a universal theme, that of a state of oneness, a fragmentation into individuality, and the process of integration back to the state of oneness. Thus, the cards in the lower numbers represent the earliest process of unity fragmenting into individuality and the star consciousness who guides us. Early to mid-range numbers represent the physical civilizations. The higher number cards are the reintegration cards, representing a movement of energy from unity to polarity and then to reintegration. Card numbers later in the deck represent the integrative processes of our star family as it moved towards unity. Parallel cards refer to a certain era of that civilization on the card. Future cards are an era of mature civilizations, where our extraterrestrial guidance mostly comes. These cards work with your intuition. Okay. Now, if you are a subscriber or you were with me for the last video, we started out with the message from Beyond Wisdom in card number 1. And so I thought that was interesting. It came through again. So this is Beyond Wisdom, a message from the founders in the parallel timeline. Get a closer look at the art. I love the art on these cards. There you go. Okay. Set this up like that. And I will begin reading. And so this is the second time that this message, and like I said, I thought it was fascinating that it came through. We had it in the last video, and it's coming through again. All right. The message. The founders represent the abiding awareness, the one consciousness that spans time and space. The consciousness is aware of its situation. Of its simultaneous existence as both the whole and its separate parts. It created an illusion of fragmentation so that we could have individual lifetimes, but its wholeness still abides and is ultimately the consciousness that sees through the eyes of every living soul. This is your true self. Some call it God, because this card points to your true nature. It is the most powerful card of this deck. It cuts through illusion and moves beyond wisdom. It is you. Remember. Because humans appear to exist in a linear, separate reality, we cannot have a card that truly embodies the energy of the complete wholeness and have the human mind be able to perceive this truth. If it were to be represented in this deck, it would have to be card number 0. This card number 1 holds the energy of our initial fragmentation from source. This first fragmentation, looking at it from a linear perspective, created many subgroups of wise beings manifesting as group consciousness systems, who act as the architects of our journey through polarity and back into wholeness. They maintain the memory of being whole and separate at the same time and guide us through this journey. They are a manifestation of the great hologram of creation that contains all things and potentials. This is why the theme is beyond wisdom. What they offer us has little to do with intellectual knowledge or even what is called wisdom. They represent us in our integrated state and help us maintain the memory of our true state of existence as one being throughout all creation, manifesting as both separate and unified simultaneously. The consciousness Germain, who channeled this card system to Lisa, represents this group consciousness. If this card appears in your spread, it is a reminder of your true nature and a suggestion to never get distracted by the chaos or intensity of physical existence. Let yourself feel this connection, the connection with the source in a way that goes beyond intellect. As this connection grows stronger within you, it can serve as a guiding force in your life. Trust that connection. That's a beautiful message. And I am thankful for the reminder. Yeah. Now the next message comes through card number 5. Fluidity, Andromeda, the parallel timeline. I'll put this up so you can see the art a little bit better. Yeah. And this is the 3rd time this message is coming through in the 24 videos. Okay. The nature of consciousness is to be fluid, to flow with the natural currents of the universe. But life in a physical body often causes us to be rigid, whether in beliefs, actions, or emotions. Andromedan consciousness is very fluid also. You know how to be this way innately as well. Take some time every day to connect with the Andromeda energy and practice going with the flow. See how your life changes when you don't try to control your reality. This isn't about becoming a victim. Let yourself surf the universal energy instead of trying to control it. See what happens. To understand the concepts of the Andromeda reality, it is recommended you read the commentaries for card 2, 3, and 4 as well. Of particular importance is to remember one reason why the Andromedans are our teachers, because they offer a contrasting reflection in which we see ourselves, particularly regarding the human qualities of rigidity, resistance, and attachment. Continuing with the theme of what the Andromedans have to teach us, this card speaks to the results of embracing change, letting go of confusion, and remembering our natural state of fluidity. This inner quality is extremely important because when we incarnate into more dense realities, like Earth's 3D, we will experience a greater degree of suffering if we do not remember our true fluid nature. If this card appears in your reading, look at the other cards surrounding it to see how it can be applied. Perhaps it is acknowledging this part of your nature, or maybe it is challenging you to find your fluidity as a way to end your suffering. In any case, as planet Earth goes through its transition, the quality of fluidity in our consciousness becomes an essential skill that will serve to carry us into new paradigms of being. Without fluidity, we will simply be forever stuck in an old recycling, the belief patterns that hinder evolution. The natural state of consciousness, its fluidity. Let yourself tap into that truth and know that the Andromedan consciousness is there to assist when needed. That's a good message. These first two cards are really good. They resonate with me. Yesterday was a little challenging for myself. Okay, now this next one. Next message is Cosmic Midwifery, the Arcturus Parallel Timeline. Okay, you see that there. I've got my readers on, so I can't exactly see how well this is focusing in. I think it's doing all right. There's the art. I love the art on these cards. I've become quite fond of it. And this is the third time this message is coming through in 24 videos. So Cosmic Midwifery, and this one also is a recent one. So maybe it was triggered because of this new challenge I was presented with yesterday, because I can't get involved. You can't submerge yourself in kids or grandkids' lessons. They're life lessons for them, So I'm trying to, just kind of give counsel that we have life lessons, and some, we cannot. They're not avoidable. They, if you think you're going to get away from something, the universe is going to bring it back to you as many times until you finally realize you got to look at it and you got to work through it, constructively for yourself. So anyway, here we go. Cosmic Midwifery, Arcturus Parallel Timeline. All civilizations need guides, seen and unseen, that help them grow. The Arcturus energy has guided humanity from a place of compassion and unconditional love since its inception. It plays the role of a cosmic midwife, assisting us through birth and death in the physical reality. This energy also helps us through major life transitions. You pulled this card because you have a connection to the Arcturus energy in this life or another. That energy is working with you again to reconnect, visualize a bright orange star and breathe in its energy directly to your heart. As stated, the Arcturus energy has a profound and all-pervasive relationship with human reality. One of the services it provides has to do with the two most sacred life transitions, birth and death. The Arcturus energy, which energetically resonates as the energy of our higher selves or our integrated essence, serves as a midwife for us when we are born and when we pass from this physical world. You could say that the white lights seen in near-death experiences and during birth, if we could remember, is the energy of Arcturus, or our pure essence. This doesn't mean the star Arcturus or something to do with extraterrestrials. This is a pure archetypical resonance that is equated with the star Arcturus in the cosmology given by Germain. This energy can be felt by focusing on the star Arcturus in meditation, but the consciousness is so much more expansive than simply a star. If this card comes up in your reading, it could point to the many things depending on your unique qualities and life lesson. It may mean that you have a gift to usher others through the birth or death process. It could also mean that you are going through a metaphorical birth or death experience and could benefit by invoking the Arcturus consciousness to assist you. That's a good message. The Arcturus energy is where the archangels and the Christ consciousness dwells. From at least this is what I have been able to gather. Yeah. If you gather something else, let me know. But it's my understanding that that is what the Arcturus energy field is about. Okay, now we go on to 55. The message coming from card 55, Fusion and Magic. This is an Orion card, present timeline. There's the art. Fascinating art, isn't it? It's beautiful. Just beautiful. And, I thought this one had come up before, but this is the first time this message is coming through out of the 24 videos. All right. And I did not read this before now. So you and I are going to listen to this together for the first time. The Orion energy, deeply polarized, went through a dramatic healing process in which those polarities fused together to create a powerful energy that fueled their society's transformation. Whenever two forces collide within us, it creates a process of fusion that releases an intense energy for manifestation. This is the basis of what we call magic. The fusion of two opposite energies that are harnessed and directed in a desired way. This is why it is important to embrace both the shadow and the light sides within us. We then create magical transformation. Embrace your abilities as a magician. This card refers to the era of Orion history in which polarity conflicts were beginning to heal. It was a volatile time that contained many miracles and transformations. Imagine taking two very powerful magnets and making them repel each other. As you move the magnets closer together despite their resistance to each other, energy coalesces in between the magnets and becomes more pressurized. If the force that brings the magnets together surpasses the resistance, the energy created initializes a type of fusion that collapses resistance, reverses poles, and creates rapid integration. This is what happened in Orion. These energetic principles are the basis for certain forms of magic. This type of integration cannot be forced or controlled. It usually happens during a time of great resistance. This card may be coming up for you because there is something you are resisting in your reality. Eventually, you will be forced to surrender to the powerful force of energy guiding this transformation. This card may be referring to a past life or a present situation. This is a powerful card of transformation, but it also contains a warning about your own resistance to change and growth. If you continue to resist, be ready for lots of intense energy and chaos around you before transformation can occur. If you wish to avoid that chaos and intensity, simply let go and follow the flow, even if you think it is taking you somewhere you don't want to go. It is possible that the flow is taking you somewhere you need to go. Wow, that was a great message. It not only reminded me what I'm, dealing with my, letting my kids grow up and feel their own pain, and the grandkids, and their life lessons. Sometimes it's difficult to watch the life lessons in action, and that's personally what I'm dealing with now. But also when I'm reading this, I'm thinking about what's going on in the United States right now, and it's the same thing. It really is the same thing. Life lessons. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. We need to remember. Our next message in card 68, generosity, Lyra, future. Okay. And this is the fourth time this message is coming through. Okay. I do. I like the art. Really like the art. Generosity. As ancient challenge of the Illyrians was to have a generous spirit, they had a fear that if they gave to others, they would not have enough for themselves. Eventually, they healed this pattern. Humans are now facing the same challenge as they explore the issue of generosity. Most people have no problem being generous when they feel safe and secure. But can you be generous when you feel insecure? Examine your patterns of generosity honestly. Are you afraid to give, or do you have resistance about receiving? Balance lies in being able to give and receive equally. That is a true path of transformation. This Lyran time stream represents the Lyran culture after they healed their karma and the challenges of the past when they were a young species. One of these challenges of the past had to do with their selfishness and insistence on viewing reality in a fragmented way, which only accentuated polarity and kept them acting from a place of me first. This kind of attitude ignores the truth that all beings are really one consciousness looking through a multitude of eyes. Over time, as they matured, they learned that by helping others, they truly help themselves. If this card came up in your reading, look at the other cards and your life situation for clues. It could be that you are receiving a message to become more generous in life. Not through actions per se, but through the intent behind those actions, which is more important. Conversely, it could be a message that your generosity is being offered from a motivation that is not aligned with your spirit. It may also mean that you are being too generous and depleting yourself. Search deep within for the deeper meaning of this message. Ultimately, when you keep in mind that all beings in creation are part of the same one being, the understanding of generosity changes completely. Begin to see your generous actions in a way that reinforces the idea that all giving is really giving to yourself. That's a great message. I like that message. Okay, now we have card 87, the message in that. Let me find it here in the book. Holographic healing, Pleiades, future timeline. And this is first time for this message coming through. Okay. I'm going to put it up so you can see the art a little better. Yeah, I like the art. I hope you do too. Holographic healing. Yeah. Okay. I have not heard this message prior to this taping either. So let's experience this together. Palladians recognize that all consciousness is all holographic. When one part of the hologram is influenced, so is the whole, and that is the foundation of Palladian healing methods. Okay, I'm going to read that again. When one part of the hologram is influenced, so is the whole. And that is the foundation of Palladian healing methods. True healing for humans, physical and mental/emotional, adheres to this principle too. When we influence one part of our beingness, the whole is affected. This card encourages you to see your life experience holographically rather than as a series of separate events. Healing in the now or in past lives affects the whole you. So each step you take towards your healing now will affect the entire hologram of your existence. Yeah. I'm going to inject this here before I go on. I have found myself recently, when I ground myself, when I bring that divine white light of protection in, I have began encasing my past, the bloodline, and I encase my children, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, my future bloodline. I encase them all in this divine white light of protection. Yeah, and I feel it. Yeah, so I've been doing that. So this triggered that for me to share with you. Okay, now I'll continue. In the introductory material of this card book, Germain discusses the holographic nature of reality and how all beings are connected even while they are experiencing the illusion of fragmentation. This card refers to an evolved time stream of the Palladian civilization when they were well aware of the connectedness of all life and their science and spirituality, which are the same thing. Reflect this idea. As humankind moves into fourth density, these holographic principles are beginning to be known as new healing methods that use the holographic principle are introduced. This card often comes up in readings for people who are healers, massage therapists, naturopathic doctors, and so on. If that is your case, then the card is acknowledging your healing arts and reminding you to always think of the whole in healing rather than separate parts. Think, think outside of the box. If you are not a healer and this card came up in your reading, it is most likely a reminder to apply the holographic principles in your own inner work. Never assume that there is one thing to be fixed that is separate from your whole self. Healing is a process that affects the whole being. And the true definition of healing is simply balance. Look at the whole picture, and once again, let yourself see unity rather than separation in all aspects of healing. Wow, that was powerful. That was powerful. So if you're grounding yourself daily, as we all should, and you bring down that divine white light of protection, going forward, are you going to include your past life bloodline and your future and the others that are present in it now? Because our family truly is a fragmentation along with us. Maybe if we include them in our divine protection, bringing down that divine white light, we can accelerate healing. Interesting thought. Anyway, okay. Let me know what you think. Comment section below. I welcome your thoughts. I really do. Your communication. Thank you. Okay, our next message is in card 98, Paradox, from Zeta Reticuli, Future Timeline. And this is the third time this message is coming through. There you go. It's good. Look at the art. All right. Here we go. Number 98. The Zetas pass through an essential transformational paradigm on their way to enlightenment. It has to do with an alchemical, I have a hard time with them. I'm sorry. It's chemical, only alchemical shift from a state of polarity to the paradox of containing both poles simultaneously in total balance with no preference for either. Interesting. Let me read that again. It has to do with an alchemical shift from a state of polarity to the paradox of containing both poles simultaneously in total balance with no preference for either. Spiritually, they learn to be both full, containing the universe in all its forms, and empty. Spiritually, they learn to be both full and empty, containing nothing but conscious awareness. Living this paradox is a point of power and is the key for spiritual transformation. You contain this paradox as well. Learn to tap into it to accelerate your evolution. Let the Zetas guide you. This card refers to the Zeta era in which their species became enlightened. The theme of this card may be the most difficult one in the deck to understand, because the mind is used to processing its views of reality through polarity, choosing one or the other. A paradox is a seemingly true statement or group of statements that leads to a contradiction or situation that seems to defy logic or intuition. The mind cannot grasp that two opposing forces can sometimes coexist harmoniously. Very often, when people discover a paradox on their spiritual journey, they believe that it is because they have somehow failed in their work. The opposite is true. It means we are closer to the truth because the truth cannot exist within a polarized perspective. As we teach ourselves to go beyond this or that, a whole new reality opens. If this card came up in your reading, it points to a shift in your perspectives that is on the horizon or happening now. This shift can take you closer to unlocking limited beliefs and perspectives that keep you stuck. If you encounter a paradox in your life, resist the temptation to make a choice of this or that. Let the two ideas both be present without choosing one or the other. Let yourself feel what that does within your consciousness. This was one of the key exercises that helped to free the Zeta species, and facilitate their enlightenment. And it will be key in human transcendence as well. It's a powerful message. Powerful message. Thank you. Thank you. That is a powerful message. Okay. Now, our final message is mirror reflection. Card 99 is where it's coming through. This is the second time that this message has come through in the 24 videos. There. It's a good look at it. Yeah. Looks like a grown-up there and a little one down here peeking out. Maybe one, I don't know. It's an interesting card. Interesting. I love the art. Okay, here we go. One of the reasons for the fearful Zeta encounters humans had in the past was so we could look into the reflection they represent and see ourselves. They were a major force to help humans confront their species' fears. They show us ourselves, the full journey of human consciousness from fear to love and to ultimate reunification with the source. This card asks you to begin looking at your fears as a reflection of what you need to see. Don't look away. As you look fear in the eye, you can begin to see transformation and that you have all the answers you need. Let fear transform into love as the Zetas did. I love that this message is coming through. I've walked through fear, devastating, mind-bending fear, and it is transformational. And I'll begin again. This card refers to the Zeta era in which their species fears and challenges were behind them, and they became an enlightened species. Whenever we meet a true enlightened being whenever we meet a true enlightened being, that being becomes a clear mirror in which we can see ourselves, the beautiful and the ugly. This is one of the gifts enlightened beings have to give us. Because the Zetas as a species experienced and confronted their deepest fears in desperation and nearly did not survive, they were able to purge their addiction to polarity and separation, integrate their fears, and awaken. If this card came up in your reading, its meaning depends on the other cards and your life circumstances. Most likely, the card is suggesting that you begin a spiritual process of truly confronting and healing your fears and allowing them to transform you. This process cannot be postponed indefinitely if you sincerely wish to evolve. Conversely, the card may be acknowledging your recent success with this process and that you have made a shift. If you feel a connection with the Zeta species, it is also most likely acknowledging that you are connected with Zetas from this time stream. Go within and ask your higher self what, if anything, you need to confront, and then be willing to clearly see its reflection. This revelation and the subsequent healing that comes from this process can be deeply profound. Don't look away. Don't look away from the mirror reflection. Yeah. Yep. It's tough. It's a tough message. I know that it's absolutely true. And part of what I am, in connection with my family right now, my grown grandchildren, and watching them having to do life lessons, it and difficult ones, because the younger we are, the more difficult it is for a lot of us, Yeah. So great message. I hope you all got something beneficial out of this. I know I did. And I thank you. In closing, I wish you all agape love. And thank you for sharing your time with me. Remember to love yourself and the others. Be the light. Let's all strive to be the light. I love you all. Thank you. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Bye for now. Take real good care of yourselves. All right. Thanks.